How you feeling?
Like a completely different human in comparison to just 2 months ago.
This wasn't about fixing.
My system isn't reacting to any of it anymore. I can hold any of it.
Yeah, but when you got 23 parts competing against each other, of course you're exhausted.
It's just like a 41-year-old woman who is stepping into the next level.
With every failure, with every mishap, with every part of me that you may think is darkness, I own all of it, and so I can be undeniable.
There's so much wrong in that statement, and this individual can impact millions of people around the globe.
It is the forced outcome that is actually trying to kill us.
Our external environment and our internal environment is critical.
And it's contained power, and I might even stretch it to have contained feminine power. I will bring out my sword, but for the most part, I don't want to.
But she knows where the sword is, and she's not afraid of picking it up.
Because we did both the emotional thing and the food thing. And the cool thing about the emotional work is it allows the food to happen without resistance.
Your body is an entire ecosystem of systems. It's not just a kidney, it's not just a heart and lungs. I had done all of the identity work, all of the mindset work, all of in the gym, all of this stuff, but it wasn't shifting the actual physicality of my body.
I am the open to receive button. Welcome to something new. If you've been here for a while, you'll know this podcast used to be called Recovery Unleashed. And that chapter mattered deeply. But here's the truth. I outgrew it. Recovery was never the final destination for me. It was the doorway. A decade clean, nervous system rebuilt, trauma has been processed, body has been restored, identity has been reclaimed. And then something else started happening. Expansion, leadership, money, polarity, high performance, and deep emotional integration, even sovereignty. I realized I wasn't just talking about recovery anymore. I was talking about capacity. How much life can you hold? How much truth can you embody? How much power can you contain without leaking? Recovery Jungle is becoming just the jungle. And this podcast is now into the jungle. Because this work goes beyond healing. It's about stepping into the wild terrain of your own potential. Relationships, authority, longevity, business, masculine and feminine integration, science and spirituality meeting. If you're here for service level conversations, this probably isn't your place. But if you want to expand, if you want to build wealth without losing depth, if you want polarity without chaos, if you want leadership without burnout, if you want to feel fully alive, welcome. We're going much deeper now.
How you feeling?
Like a completely different human in comparison to just 2 months ago.
So, I mean, it was about just over 3 months ago that we started working together deeply, doing our 12 weeks of, I might now call them human integration sessions.
Yeah. And
which, I actually want to say, before we even start talking about that, because, you're actually already successful, disciplined, got your shit together. All of those things are true. This wasn't about fixing you in any capacity whatsoever. This was like containment and softening and like full next level leadership for yourself and your life. And yeah, I guess, would you tell me where you were at the start?
Yeah, just to ground even our listeners, right? I mean, I've been deeply into trauma-trained trauma work here in the States since 2020, and truly on a quote unquote healing journey, if you will, after 17 years of diet culture, weight loss camps, and nonstop athletic gym rat movement in 2018. So if you think about it, my body is fully turned over, right? And from a cellular perspective. And at the beginning of our work together, I can't even begin to explain how much money I had invested in the true integration of self, integrated self. And I was aware that there was still this lack of containment or this rebellion against structure. and like aware of it, right? Because I could see it in my external reality. So conscious of internal reality versus external reality in the mirror and all of those things. And prior to our, our 12-week human, integration sessions, that I couldn't contain it. And it truly, like you can call it ADHD, you can call it whatever the pathology you want to call it. But like as a high performing, both athlete and businesswoman, I could tell there was something that was like like preventing the integration of it. And it was just like I was in parts management and so sick of the energy and the life force that was going into parts management.
Explain what you mean by parts management.
Yeah, so we have trauma and any type of it. It doesn't matter like big or small, right? Capital T, little t, whatever you like, any shock to your system will fragment a part of your psyche. And that fragment it is known as a part, where that part gets stuck in a younger stage of development, or it gets stuck in a younger, age biologically, and then it goes on and it controls certain dimensions of your life without your conscious awareness of it. So I was fluidly in the management and the, bringing my ventral vagal nervous system, my inner athlete, to be with these parts of me, but they weren't integrated yet. And that is all shifted dramatically since our work together. So it's less of, I've got all of these parts of me, and more of a deep anchored grounding
Yeah.
in the structure of a routine at the highest level. Meaning like I can interact with the release, the system of money, and like the receiving and the release of it, and not, my system isn't reacting to any of it anymore. Whether
Oh.
that is at all. Like I am like there is zero reaction to any of that. I can hold any of it, and like I've had some monetary shocks as of late, completely on, out of my control, and my system is just like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Truly.
The safety, like the self-safety inside of all of that, that's landed. No matter
Correct.
what happens externally, I'm okay. I'm fundamentally safe.
Yes. So
Yeah.
it's
The
it's
path,
like the younger parts that,
yeah.
grew up with a lack of that contained structure, aren't in any type of control of my adult life whatsoever anymore. And I don't have to manage them. It's just like there's like a 41-year-old woman who is stepping into the next level of expansion, across all dimensions of wellness through mission, vision, and purpose. And it just is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, the parts thing is so interesting. I try and explain this to people when they're like, well, I have burnout and I'm exhausted. It must be my sleep. And I'm like, yeah, okay, but when you got 23 parts competing against each other, of course you're exhausted, right? Of course it takes up so much energy. One part wants to do this, one part wants to do that. They're like, and so it's like allowing each one to have space. And you're aware of it, right? Being aware of it is one thing, and allowing both of them to have space. And then to have someone that's like, I don't know, I just like am stuck and I'm tired. And it's like, this is actually what we're dealing with. These and for some parts of it, I remember parts of this where it wasn't even the younger childhood parts, it was corporate Erin, you know, needed to be integrated into athlete Erin. And, little 12-year-old Erin needed to be integrated in. And can I receive Erin needed to be integrated in. And can I also be in, I mean, we were having this conversation the other day of like, how good is it that we started out as athletes? So the masculine was integrated first in a healthy way. Because it wasn't, it's, being an athlete is not a control shadowed type of masculine expression. It is a perfect in the light, like for a purpose, for a mission type of masculine integration or expression. And then to bring in the feminine after, which, my last year has been all about, and then taking you through it was the most beautiful thing to witness. Just this, yeah. I can feel that. Yeah, so I think that's really, really beautiful. And this, this speaking of a fully integrated human, and this is the word I want to start really using now, is it's just integration. It's just a full human integration of the masculine, the feminine, in dark, in light, in all the different parts of ourselves that we've dismissed, that we've discarded, that we've not allowed to be seen, that have not allowed to be heard.
I mean, you can see it in my physiology, right? Like I'm just sitting here like fully grounded in a completely different postural alignment.
Mm.
And my system no longer braces around any of it because there's full resonance there. But in addition to just that, right? Like many of my clients, not only are they not even aware there are parts, but they don't even have the metacognition to become aware. And that, like, that's a lot of the work that, I believe we're here to do. Because without the metacognition is like, so it's a big old fancy word to be the observer of your thoughts. Well, like that is metabolically expensive in and of itself. And so many women and men have been, conditioned into what I would call like restriction as their everyday normal and just like anchoring in for them that they're like actually in just a part of their psyche. They're not even connected into their adult self. Is that ended up, I mean, that's 12 weeks of work, if not more than that.
It's a lot more than that, depending on where you're starting, right? If you can get the groundwork in and take people to this depth, you can get an amazing identity shift inside of 12 weeks. And also, what does a year look like? And also, what does 2 years look like? It starts to become an expansion of capacity at such a high level. I mean, yeah, we did 12 weeks together, but what had been done prior to that? It's a never ending, people, there's something that gets thrown around a little bit in my world at the moment of like, are we addicted to the healing process? Are we creating things within ourselves to just endlessly heal, and that's the next version of escapism? And there's this line, this sort of space somewhere in between it where, yes, I can see how that happens, and there's feeling of, well, there's something fundamentally always wrong with me, and so I need to endlessly heal. And then also, well, you can always continually expand. And if your intention is to live a big life and to create big impact and to do big things, there's probably an expansion of capacity that needs to keep existing. And so towing that line of, am I just endlessly doing this for the sake of it? And I think the difference is what I'm starting to land in is, well, are you showing up with the new version of you, or are you just staying in the loop? And, wake up, clean up, grow up, show up. If you're showing up and you're showing up and you're showing up with this new version all of the time, actually creating impact in the world, actually being of service to yourself and allowing achievement and allowing all of those needs to actually be met. If you're showing up in all of those ways, in connection, in the beauty of the magic of life, in the full expression of what you can be, and then also it's okay to keep expanding in these ways.
Yes, and right. So I think everything that you just touched upon is a critical distinction between, is it endless nonstop healing versus like, actually, no, this is just what's required to expand and not be stuck in a braced physiology. So to actually be able to expand and soften into a new identity, in addition to the fact that like like I fully believe the circadian rhythm of Mother Nature shows us what like is guiding and showing us what to do no matter what. So is there an additional requirement for those of us who know we're here for a broader impact? Of course. However, even the everyday human being, like if you look at the seasons that Mother Nature takes us through, regardless of where you're at on the globe, there's a need for retraction. There's a need to plant. There's a need to harvest. There's a need to expand, and all of that unfolds just naturally in the circadian rhythm across seasons. And so there's a double-edged sword, right? Because it's like, for me personally, many times I thought, okay, that's enough. There's no more healing to do. But that's not the case, because
Mm.
every identity evolution is going to like require additional integration across
Mm.
different fragments of your psyche that like aren't used to that level. And
Yes.
that we just that is what we see in Mother Nature annually.
Yeah. Say that sentence again about uh the next level.
Yeah, and like the next like so where I'm speaking to there, right, is the next layer. Like commonly, pause. Commonly, there's this like new level, new devil conversation. I don't know if I agree with that anymore. It's the same challenge that you've already conquered in a different level, but now your nervous system has broader capacity to hold, and those there's parts of your psyche that need to remember. They just need to remember that you've, number one, done this before at a different level. And number two, your nervous system has now expanded to the part where capacity is greater. And they just need the remembering. They need to know you're not leaving them behind. And I think that's where I was going with that, where like
Yeah.
a lot of times like I have clients that don't want to go back to a certain moment because they feel like they've exhausted it. And it's been in my own journey, it's been going back to certain moments, not necessarily traumatic ones either, right? Just going back to certain moments where I learned certain things before I had a prefrontal cortex, before I had a brain that could actually reintegrate. And that like is where all the power unfolds. That's where your new
Yeah.
capacity is coming from, is
Yeah.
that. And many
Yeah.
people don't want to do that for fear of reliving trauma. Well, I've like many, like for the most part, you're not reliving it. You're going back in with additional clarity, receiving additional clarity, and expanding through it.
Yeah. That's true. I do hear that I don't want to have to go back and relive these things, and I do see that. And also the other thing I see is I don't want to let go of these identities. They're holding on so tight. Who will I be? I can't deal with the unknown. I can't deal with the uncertainty. What do you mean who I am might not exist anymore? What do you mean the way I show up? It's the uncertainty and the unknown of the expansion. I actually, I'm actually not going to say who it is, but there was a session that I did yesterday and day before yesterday, and it was around something that I had been saying for like 8 months. And I was like, I'm sure that's there. I'm sure that's there. I'm sure that's there. No. And it was like, no, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. Um, and inside of this session, the resistance was so strong. It was so strong just because of the uncertainty. And it was a rough ride to actually allow that to dissolve and bring forth this part. And this part was like, I don't want to be seen, and I'm holding on to that so tightly. Like it was a lot to really. And when we were in parts work in fields, and we had to come back into the body, back into the parts, and back into the body, back into the parts, until we really, really was able to integrate it. And even now is saying it's not fully integrated, but now I know that it's there, and now we can start to have a conversation. And and then the grief, the biggest part of that was, well, now there's a grief that I didn't do this earlier, and even that is scary to be able to look at. Of if I know if I land in this place, then the last however many years are for nothing. That kind of grief.
And that kind of grief is real.
Yeah.
And I mean it's not just real. There's impact that takes place across our somatic body and our mental body and our emotional body. And many of us weren't given the tools to even make that okay, to navigate with capacity the grief that unfolds when we become conscious of certain identities that needed certainty and were uncomfortable in the unknown. And that I will credit my athlete with like the capacity
Mm.
to move through. Like truly, it's the
Pain
athlete
tolerance.
in me that was both, it can be comfortable in wildly uncomfortable terrain and
Yeah.
also comfortable in the unknown of like, what does it feel like to hit a PR, right? Like, what does it feel like to pull more weight than you've ever pulled before? And I don't know if you see this in your client base, but for sure in mine, it like women who haven't felt safe to be seen and even cultivate that inner athlete, that's the crux of it, is the resistance to exactly what you're speaking to, a fear of the unknown, and also just finding comfort in uncomfortable.
So this particular person was a man, actually, which was an interesting thing, right? And it actually came from a place of, uh, if I'm seen in my totality, people might know that I've screwed up before, and that I've made mistakes, and that I've acted as a fraud. And it actually came down. It was the most beautiful thing to watch unfold, because it actually came down to, well, all of those stories are the reasons I am undeniable now. Right. And I was like, yeah, that's it.
That's
All
it.
those stories of not getting it right is the reason you are equipped to show up now, and equipped to tell your story, and equipped to teach, and equipped to be seen and to be heard and to be listened to. Those stories of not getting it right are the reason you are now in your full right to say something. And they are a part of you, and they can be owned, like deeply, deeply owned. And so that was an interesting thing of like this being undeniable. I want to show up as undeniable before I show up. And it's like, how do I do that without not being perfect? And it's like, well, that is the undeniableness. I own it. And so I'm undeniable. You can't say anything to me that will shock me or make me feel shame, or someone might not know, because I own every single part of who I am. That is integration. That is full. With every failure, with every mishap, with every part of me that you may think is darkness, I own all of it, and so I can be undeniable.
Mm.
And so with women, what I actually find with this being seen in my world is it's been unsafe. It's just been fundamentally unsafe. If I show up exactly as I am, the world is not safe. And I think that is a little bit of ancestral stuff running through our system, a little bit of cultural stuff running through our system, and also in the way that we have grown up in, talking about neurodivergence, right? That's a very, very common thing in neurodivergence. Well, I don't belong, and I'm not accepted, and I must put down all of these ways of existing that don't fit the people that are around me. And so I'm fundamentally broken. I'm not able to show up as I am. The masking comes online so heavily. It's actually unsafe. It's been unsafe 1,000 times over in our life to show up exactly as we are. A little bit crazy, a little bit, we're going all over the place, a little bit hyper focused, a little bit upset that the sheets don't match, a little bit, whatever that is. And also the chaos of women, the full-blown emotionality of chaos of women. When has that been acceptable? When were we loved for it? When were we held in it?
Well, and much of that, like the unacceptable nature of that chaos, is where has the masculine been to contain it with safety?
Yeah. Yes. Okay, so tell me about how you experienced receiving and containment 3 months ago.
3 months ago, how I experienced receiving and containment. So prior to our work together.
Mm.
Whew. I mean, even to just remember that feels like it was years ago. Number
Doesn't
one.
it?
Right. So let's just anchor in the fact that like it feels like years ago, like lifetimes ago. But like I could intellectually and emotionally and spiritually understand receiving and containment, but I could not feel it somatically. No matter how much somatic quote unquote work I had done here with like public figures in the States, no matter how much how much feminine energy work I had invested into here in the States, it like none of that had mattered. I somatically could not feel it. And now I feel receiving,
Mm.
and my
What
body can stay open to it.
how did that happen for you? Explain what was happening inside of that allowed that.
I think it's twofold, right? Like the container that I experienced with you, um, you know, provided and really gave sensation to what safety when feeling emotions felt like and
Yeah.
moving energy across the body, number one. Number two, it was also just the path and the journey that I'm walking and like the physicality of my human body and what I was navigating myself through after a period of scarcity that I had never known before, going back into a more of an abundant, set point, if you will, monetarily, and having the resources to go like step back into how I used to be able to hold and recover my body on a weekly basis. So it's not just one thing. It's all things, meaning red light, cryotherapy, float sessions, OMTs, like unwinding scoliosis, noting that like I for a very long time I was in full chronic pain. And like I'm like 2 to 3 months completely out of it. Now, I say that, but I also, am investing significantly, like I've always done, minus 2 years, in back into my body. And that's what like the resource availability and disposable income that you need to be able to even to step into it is a whole different conversation from what we're having now, but it's a very real thing. And I quit a corporate career in 2023, went into like newbie entrepreneur status, and didn't filter in my ventral vagal nervous system and paid the price of it. And so like that's part of it, right? That is very much part of it. But there's no question in my body's ability to generate and receive anymore. And there's no question in how I interact with my own masculine from a structure that can contain that anymore. Right? The masculine in athletics, the feminine and athletics didn't transfer over into power from a wealth standpoint in business.
Yeah. And what do you feel like that you were gripping onto before? Like, what control do you feel like that you had your fingers in that was not allowing that state?
I don't know if control is the word, but it was more like my system didn't know where to even start. Like it was like so the relation of any type of structure, again, I could hold structure and be disciplined, not a problem. That's not what I'm talking about here. I mean, I got myself to the gym 6 to 7 days a week for decades, right? That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is instead of architecting in a reactionary fight or flight from a work mode, it's become a very proactive container in advance. Does that make sense?
I, from what I'm understanding, it's something like this. Inside of being an athlete, you rock up every day. You don't ever miss a day. You do it all, perfect, 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 perfect. I will be here. I will push. I'll push. I'll push. I'll push. Inside of this, it's an energetic containment and a little bit of letting go, and then it starts to come.
Yep. Exactly. So it's like my own masculine felt safe setting the tone of the structure, and my feminine can dance freely within it. Said another way.
Yeah.
Right?
So this is what I'm saying in terms of a gripping, right? In when we come from this life, and this doesn't just happen in being an athlete. I see women do this in, well, it's never been safe for me to let go of control in any way. So no, you're not going to take care of me. No, I'm not going to let you do that. I'm going to overfunction, 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 overfunction. Why am I burnt out? Why can't I receive love? Why don't I have any money? Why is my body falling apart? Why can't I lose weight? And that's that grip. I must not let go because it's never been safe. No one has ever contained me. No, there is a fundamental and there's a fundamental terrible containment in our society as it is anyway. And also men are starting to get it. They're doing the work. And, for anyone who says there's no good men out there, there absolutely is. There absolutely is. And there are resources for them to level up just as you might want to level up. And I would call them out and say, well, where are you sitting right now if that's not allowing you to actually bring them in? You know, what capacity do you have to receive? What level are you sitting at? The containment, though, is also, it does get developed within ourselves. So yes, we need masculine containment, we need structure, we need order. I was having this conversation with the team that I'm training at the moment in like, well, yes, we just need to show up. That doesn't mean that because I said that you're delivering today that you must deliver, and that because we said we're going to do this today that we have to do that, and we're going to, you know, force it down your throat. It's creating enough structure where when we show up to things, we can allow it to be whatever needs to come through. Yes, I'm going to structure in me getting up and doing some work in these blocks of time. And if it doesn't turn out the way I need it to turn out, that's okay. You know, even in this today, okay, Erin, like, we're just going to show up and it might turn out amazing and it might not, and whatever, like, trusting that it's all flowing to us in the right reasons doesn't mean sitting back and getting all like, I will just do nothing. The universe will provide it to me. I'm just going to be on the couch. It's a balance. Right?
It's a complete balance, and that's where the manifestation gurus and the law of it and all of that stuff have done such a like huge disservice to society.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
it's like you're not just sitting there becoming, you know, open to a new manifestation. You're literally showing up daily through your own divine and becoming the human that can actually hold the containment of that which you want to manifest.
Yes.
It's
Which is
active, it's not passive, and that is not how some of it's been taught, you know, and so that's a fundamental error on mankind at the highest level as far as I'm concerned.
really interesting, right? This is just coming to me in this moment of a too big a push into feminine energy. So if you take a look at manifesting teachers, and it's like we're just going to push you into higher vibration and then do nothing, and a part of that is actually a disservice, because I've been having this conversation with another woman at the moment around transcend and include rather than transcend and exclude. Mm-hmm. And so some of this teaching is, well, yes, we will transcend you to higher states and exclude everything below, and not realizing that anger is a necessary thing. Sadness is a necessary thing. Boredom is a necessary, like all of these are necessary parts. We want to transcend and include. And so you take, you know, I'm visualizing now a frequency chart, right? Of up to 900, you know, and you get to love, right? I mean, that's what I'm imagining right now. So I see that. And then I see next to that spiral dynamics of the same things trying to reach this second tier consciousness where it's all, we're all one and it's all just the same and we can just, you know, everything's going to come to us. And in that state, they're excluding survival, basic needs, a need for an ego, a need for achievement, a need for structure, a need for, you know, all of these parts that need to be included. So all of this needs to come and integrate into an entire human experience. And from that place, and then I see again another one of masculine, light masculine, dark masculine, light feminine, dark masculine, and all of those need to be included in every human. And when I see again, then, well, let's teach feminine embodiment. Well, that's great. If you're just going to be dancing around in the fields all day without any containment, if your masculine containment disappears, are you going to fall apart? You need to bring on a level of masculine containment within yourself where you can hold yourself, contain yourself, and allow all of these things to come through. Yeah, sure. Having real life masculine containment is very, very helpful to surrender to very much deeper levels. You got to hold some of it yourself. It's got to exist in yourself as well.
Couldn't agree more. And, you know, prior to having connected muscle mass, it was almost impossible to even contemplate that. I mean, yes, I absolutely went there because like, as far as I'm concerned, like first off, muscle, provides the stability and the containment for your physical body vessel, number one, right? And, you know, without that, there's no boundaries. And I see that in the women that I serve. I see that play out in real life. truly, where there's micro self-abandonment that happens unconsciously. And it plays out in the relationship fields, like with other, and also the relationship field with self-nourishment and movement.
I mean, this is really funny. I think one of the funniest things that you've said to me in our entire relationship is you can't trust a man without muscle mass. Right. So, I mean, that was hilarious. And I was at breakfast with a friend on the weekend, and I said this statement out loud. And I was with Deegan and this friend of mine, and we're losing it laughing. And we actually plugged into ChatGPT, why can't you trust a man without muscle mass? Right. And but so this is a beautiful thing, right? And it actually comes back down to what you were saying is I want to, when I bring in my man, I want a man that can match me in the gym. And you know what's underneath that, there is something underneath that, and it's not about you can't trust a man without muscle mass, or he has to be able to lift as much as me in the gym or go as hard. It's about what is a man, or what is a human that is holding healthy muscle mass mean about them, and what kind of physiology are they operating from, and what is their cellular energy operating from. And I know that a man that has a lot of muscle mass has developed discipline, they've developed structure, they've developed foundational strength, they've developed groundedness, they have the cellular health that gets created from having high muscle mass, which allows them to operate in a high level with good cognitive function. They know what it feels like to be inside of their body and to feel their body and can be inside of it. These are the things that we're looking for.
And it's also like, yes, all of those things, right? And it's also just because they have it doesn't mean they're on the same spiritual type, nonstop expansion mentally and emotionally either. So there's not a clear cut, right? It's in addition to that, it's about literally having that life partner that like can get up and go for a jog or go climb a mountain in the 80s and 90s. So it's beyond just the physique and what the muscle mass does to our cellular, structure and the cellular truth of it, but it's also the nature art of companionship and knowing that I mean, 2 to 3 hours of my day is typically spent there. And if you can't connect in that, at least for me, not saying this is for everybody. I mean, when you think of longevity, I would, highly suggest, but beyond that, I've also found that it's not a clear cut, common denominator either.
Yeah, and there's also the nuance of just because a man is jacked doesn't mean that he's trustworthy either, because we all know some assholes that are in the gym for 4 hours a day that don't have anything together. And there is also a level of protection and provision. I know that if the world starts turning terrible, that you've got my back. I know that I can trust you to take care of me in a shitty situation. I know that I can trust that you can go and chop wood and hunt and kill and all of these things, which actually brings on desire in a whole kind of other level. Right. And then you're right. It is the longevity piece. It is the health piece. I want you to live till you're 120 years old because I'm damn going to well do that.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so what I'm hearing you say as well is it's the just from an alignment perspective, in way of life. And there's something to be said about lifetime health and fitness, irregardless of how it may play out for you currently or in the past. There's something there that, clinical science is like, I mean, it's very clear. Like even leg strength is coordinated to brain cognition and brain size. Truly.
And the lack of getting dementia or Alzheimer's, right?
Exactly.
And cancer and all these inflammatory disorders and diabetes, like leg strength is directly correlated to all of those things.
Yep, directly, 100%. And health is not defined by a number on the scale. Like we're like this is all clinically available to anybody who wants to go search it. It's just not being executed in institutions yet, right? It's not
Yeah.
being executed in medicine yet. There's legs there. I just happen to be, I'm lucky to be alive because I got stuck in the leg.
Say that. What do you mean?
Yeah, so like we know that the clinical research that's available to anyone who wants to go search PubMed. We know, like, and this is back in 2005, there was a 17-year delay between what we understand in clinical trials, meta-analyses, and what is actually implemented in medical schools and institutions in public health. 17 years. And as
As a
far as I'm
minimum.
concerned, I have not seen an update to that publication. So, and I'm wildly positive just based on the doctors I interact with on a daily, and weekly basis, and the PhDs I have in my network, that they've not seen these updates.
They're not seeing the updates, and I would actually argue that it can be a lot longer than 17 years. I've seen MDs and PhDs say to me it's sometimes 50 years before the training gets updated. And the amount of people that I speak to, like in consults and things like that, that are saying, I don't trust it. I don't trust that system at all. How could I possibly trust when I can see this data here and they're telling me the opposite? And so this is why people are reaching out to people like us to go, well, give me the actual information. Like, can you hold me in the frame that I know is true?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that, like, I truly believe it. That's only going to increase in frequency, especially throughout this next year. We've talked a little bit about astrology. I used to be a complete poo-pooer of it, right? And just noting the energetic shifts that the Earth is going through at an axis perspective in 2026 and what's going on just in that realm, like entrepreneurs like you or I, like the frequency is going to increase drastically over I would say the next 6 to 12 months.
In what way?
in in the everyday average human reaching out and being ready.
Yeah. I can feel that.
Yeah, like I already can't keep up. Like I globally, I can't keep up with demand. I'm making shifts in my membership to become more accessible. But and we're not even into summer solstice yet. We're not even into some of the massive changes that are unfolding. And that just is speaking to as above, so below. And, like when I didn't want to step into it for the longest time, that was a feminine mask, right? That was a masculine mask over a feminine, wise woman. And a lot of it had to do with, knowing things in my body, but not being able to respond to that knowing. And that is, shifted drastically. And so now, like the clients that
Oh.
I work with on a private basis, many of them are high-powered women with high-powered jobs or entrepreneurs, public figures who are like, they're relating to their bodies as if they were still, 8 or 9 years old and, in a deep diet culture mindset. And so the work we do is upgrading that. And the need for that is going to drastically increase soon.
The thing you said about making it accessible, there is something that I'd like to actually deep dive into here with, because I understand that, and I've kind of been landing in it as well. And this piece that you said around my masculine mask that wasn't allowing it. And I understand that from the place of, I grew up with a parental figure that every time I went to go do something kind for the world, asked me, well, how much are you charging for it? And so I was stuck in this masculine, you've just got to, so very orange, red and orange meme orientated, achieve, achieve, achieve. It's about your achievement. It's about your achievement. It's about your achievement. Not actually going into this like, well, what's for the world and how can I be of service kind of energy, which was very hard for me to untangle within myself for other reasons around approval and, need for connection and love from that parental figure. And landing in this now is like, well, yes, it does need to be accessible for everyone. And part of the almost receiving energy is actually being able to give in that way. And there's something that's kind of undoing in me, which we've spoken about as well. I'm going to go on a few different loops and threads here, so pick it up where you want. And that I'm also untangling myself from an energetic, domineering control situation in which the words that were being said to me was kind of like we're operating where we're just taking care of everyone in the best way possible, and we're going to intertwine our work and do all these types of things. And the energy of it was still a shadowed masculine kind of domineering thing, which was really overridden by a sense of achievement that wasn't really being looked at. And there was a part of desperate achievement and then wanting to give to the world that hadn't met and integrated. And so meeting those and integrating those things is this, I can relax into making things accessible and allowing my immediate achievement to have a back seat and know that that will come later and that it can take time and that I don't need to be the winner in every single second. I don't need to be having the most and almost doing a taking energy of money, of power, of, the being seen. It's less of a taking and more of an allowing from a place of, well, what was the original intention? The original intention was to fundamentally change how people are being helped in these ways, to change the strongest energy from leaders in the world, that there are integrated humans that are leading what we're doing, that it's actually helpful ways for people to come out of addictions like the food restriction and exercise and drinking and terrible food and overworking and overfunctioning and all of these kind of addictive behaviors, something that actually works and works fast, and that we are enticed to get them helped as fast as possible and complete the process, because we can be done and know that we are going to be taken care of in other ways. We don't need to hold and grip onto all of these people for the rest of our lives. And then there's this, and that means I can work with you in ways that are supportive to you, and you can work with me in ways that are supportive to me. And we can do that amongst all of these things, always hearing what each other needs and putting each other in almost not a first, but togetherness, and being able to give so that you can receive. And this is what you were saying at the start around the money, is I can let it flow and I can let it come. And that happens in a business sense, in a client sense, in a giving sense, in a knowledge sense, in all of these things. And in explaining this to another friend of mine, Michael Kaboris, said to me, Hannah, well, that's just community without the shadow that we're currently living in. That's just and then I'm unpacking this and going, well, this is just community without the capitalism that is shadowed. And it's actually about weaving this all together and taking care of each other. And yes, you can still hold your sense of achievement. And yes, your ego can still be seen. And yes, all of these things can be true. But it's so much from the heart and so much from safety that it's just okay to weave everything together.
I'm currently sitting with where I want to pick up on everything that you've just shared naturally, right? Because there's a lot. And I heard, part of the domineering, like you're detaching the entanglement from a domineering masculine, and you're also becoming aware of how, accessible your work may be able to be without worry of not being taken care of on a financial basis. And it's very synonymous with what I've also ported myself through over the last 3 to 6 months, where it's been this, business coach, you do high ticket, private one-on-one, blah, 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 blah. And me relating to that structure and wanting to see some of those results. And, being told I had to follow it to a T if I wanted to, be in compliance. versus the wise woman who understands her journey, and knows that she's here to remove some of the obstacles I've had to go through with accessibility to healthcare that actually works, and be able to do that despite what business coaches say, not to poo-poo them, not to ignore them, not that I don't want to have a private one-on-one, practice, because I very much do. I just have now learned that the energy that's required from me to hold those private clients, I have not been charging for. And if I actually could put around, the transformation and contain that in a way where it needs to be contained, it opens up my capacity to honor and serve those who, are stuck in third world countries and know they're being called into a greater mission, vision, purpose, and they resonate with my work. And instead of like being in my head that I had to package an offer that, included my nervous system touching them in some way, I'm removing that constraint completely.
So
because
interesting.
of what, because of this, number one, the capacity that individual is going to have for the transformation at that level is not where it needs to be to even relate with my nervous system on a one-on-one basis yet. And I have to trust that where they're at in their journey, if they're seeing massive impact and shift from my free newsletter, which I get new emails on that like weekly from around the globe, or from my free content on Instagram, or just access to some of the curriculum without me even coming in and coaching, that is not my decision to make for them.
Yeah.
And
It's a beautiful place to land, in that rather than the podcasts and the content and the emails, rather than it coming from a place of how many people can I get to sign up, this is my free game to the world. This is my gift. Even the consults that don't sign, right? This is my gift to you. And I hope that you operate from a little bit of a better place now. And it happens, right? I get messages from people saying like, thank you for making reels. Thank you for making podcasts. Thank you for sending emails. Thank you. After I can't do this thing right now, but that has given me something that I didn't have before. And from that energy, it's like, okay, well, like now I'm letting something flow out freely. And so I can trust that those that are ready for the absolute depth of capacity expansion that I can provide will land. And I'll change their world, and they will change the worlds around them. And that is culture change, right? It's allowing both of those things, but from your own heart. It doesn't feel like scarcity. It doesn't feel like struggle. It doesn't feel like frustration. It doesn't feel like gripping. It just feels like love.
Yeah, with boundaries.
Yeah.
It's an unconditional love with boundaries, meaning like I'm going to go into a, 2 to 3 day launch in March, and like the membership tiers that I'm offering, the structure, the containment, are going to look wildly different from what it looked like in December. And, price points are with scholarships for third world countries, and all of these things are going to be available. And I'm just going to trust, literally, there will be scarcity around some of the higher tiers, because I know my capacity and I know, what my nervous system can hold in those very intimate containers. But there's no reason for me to, prevent access to just the curriculum that's been developed over the past year, because the curriculum and the activities and the homework alone, the transformations that are unfolding through that only, it is speaking for themselves. And so to your point, it's my body being able to showcase that alone is the testament to the work that we've done together, because that offer is a contained structure with feminine creation bundled in without any attachment at all to what the achievement on the other side looks like.
Yes.
It's
So
so
there is this
different. It's so different. I know I am safe regardless if anybody signs up.
Yeah.
Like I'm not, there's no rejection. My body isn't even available for rejection. As far as I'm concerned, it doesn't even exist. right? And the fake hierarchy that many of us were introduced to with, people in power versus not people in power, that's just a fake hierarchy that doesn't even exist. And there's so much available on this side. This side meaning like call it sovereignty, call it integration, call it a like there's like it's so hard because my athlete, like she's the high performer, the like I'm gonna go in and I know I'm gonna PR on a certain day, right? But my athlete is also the woman who can honor and respect the nervous system's human capacity that she may have and not beat herself up if she misses the PR. And in business, we're so often like forced into these outcomes of nonstop growth. It's unrealistic.
Yes.
And that's what I'm no longer like, that is what I'm opting out of in 2026.
I love that. I love that with all of my heart. This forced outcome it is the forced outcome that is actually trying to kill us. That will kill us. And I've been writing a little bit about this. So the place that I started landing in was owning my own authority. And there's a whole story around that, and wherever we may have time to get to, it's been a very interesting unpacking of where that actually came from in not being able to own it. But it's like a very big gaslight and a very traumatic experience earlier on in my life, and really it's just repeated and repeated and repeated and repeated. And so I'm landing in this owning my authority and being able to speak my truth in every moment and be honest in every moment and ask for what I need in every moment. And all of those things are true. And there's a word that I kind of landed in and I started writing about, and it's contained power. And I might even stretch it to have contained feminine power, in where it's all of these things you're saying. It's the letting go of the outcome and allowing yourself to show up in the best version of yourself at all times, because you're not watching what other people might think about you, if you're doing it the right way or the wrong way, or if you're following that structure or this structure, or if someone else won't think it's a good idea, or if you might get blowback from it, or if you might end up in conflict for it, or any of these things. It's just, how can I serve and deliver in the best possible way all of the time, and trust that will bring back the things that I'm supposed to have. But it's contained in the way like that we were speaking about before. It's a self-containment in, I am going to set boundaries around this, and some people aren't allowed into my space. And I am going to say no to some things. And I am going to say absolutely not. And my masculine is allowed to come out. And there's also a fighter in me that's a killer. And if you're going to try and fight me, I will bring out my sword. But for the most part, I don't want to. For the most part, I want to sit here and be in a power that the posture is a little like this, where I know that when I'm with my body and I'm having source flow through me, and I can just really hear you and feel you and go, this is what needs to happen here, and this is what I need to provide here, and this is the next thing to do. And of course the people that are in my field, in my it is a field. It's a field of like you and me and your clients and my clients that are all operating and doing this together, and allowing that to come through as well, and being able to hear and weave the magics together from this place of a boundaried, contained feminine power.
I love that so much. And that boundaried, contained feminine power, what I specifically want to bring forward is that I heard you speak into the warrior in the warrior queen, right? That like, and I've got her too. Ooh. Like, and and she doesn't like to come out.
She's hiding somewhere in everyone.
She doesn't like to come out, right? But she knows where the sword is, and she's not afraid of picking it up. at all. Like it is a mama bear, a mama lioness, and she like it's fascinating because women who, and men who are in mask of their own power will receive her in the way that is not intended, and I don't even care about that projection anymore either. And that like as soft as like she can mind the feminine inside can go, the medicine woman, the soft wise woman, like she can go as soft as a nurturing mother, and like the call it a Zeus energy or the warrior, like she'll come out and same Hannah, like
Yeah.
I the spectrum is now available and I can play my body like an instrument. And it like I literally like I know the note that her tone is. I know like her stance. I know the power that I can feel in my cells on the top of a deadlift. And like it's no different than being able to play your body like an instrument across the different feminine and masculine energies is the spectrum of integration. And as far as I'm concerned, it is how you maintain lean. Like obesity is the blockage of all of that.
Yeah, there's a lot in that. There's a lot in the obesity is the blockage of all of that from so many different lenses.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
At a cellular level, at an emotional level, at a mental level, all of it, all of it. And that's very, it's, I mean, for some reason, it was a week and a half ago, there was like a free webinar that one of like a deeply respected coach of mine had posted about for a deeply respected coach of his. And I'm not going to name names, but I was like, oh, whatever. Like, I'm just gonna see what this is all about. And, no intention of joining the ecosystem, but I just was curious. And I know exactly why I was there because in a matter of like 2 hours, there was fat people are just motivated by food. And I literally almost lost all, like want to talk about invoking the Kali energy, like that statement
Mm-hmm.
in and of itself. I could feel that warrior queen rise. And like there's so much wrong in that statement. And this individual, as can impact millions of people around the globe.
Mm.
And my heart broke for anyone, struggling in that moment because it's not neurobiologically correct at all. And like at all. There are many reasons why obesity manifests on the body. And, it's metabolic and I don't want to go down the disease pathology, but, clinically that's the route of it. And you can reverse it. You can
Okay.
absolutely reverse it, but it doesn't look like the typical way you're told to do it.
No. Tell me about the neuro part of it. Explain that in a simple term for people.
The neurobiology of it.
Mm.
The simplest way I can explain it is this, like if you plant a seed in moist soil that gets plenty of sunlight and has all of the vital nutrients that are required for growth, and you plant that seed in that soil versus planting the same seed in a very dry, desert type of vibrating soil, you're not going to get the same outcome. And environment, what I'm speaking to here is environment. Our external environment and our internal environment is critical. And it's known as the exposome. And there are many variables within the external environment and the internal environment inside of your body. There are many variables that are all at play when it comes to obesity. And so typically what unfolds is there's two levers that the fitness industry and the weight loss world will tell you that matter the most, and it's food and movement. And what I mean by there's so many other neurobiological patterns inside that are at influence is that exactly. Like there are so many different patterns that I can see in blood work, that I can see in epigenetics, that I can see in gut health. And if one or two of those things are off and they're not optimal, you're going to gain fat, even if you're not overeating.
Yeah. And so 100% right. And I see this in myself, right? And I see this in the clients that we have, in that, I mean, I'm exercising less than I ever have in my life. And I dropped 10 kilos, so 25 pounds of fat in the last 12 months. And I lift once to twice a week, and I'll hit some pads for half an hour a couple of times a week, and I walk my dog. And this is coming from someone who used to do like 5 hours a day endlessly without rest, eating nothing. And I don't weigh my food. I don't track my food. I go, this is my protein requirement, get it in, and like kind of whatever. And there's definitely been, ketogenic protocol around inflammation. There's definitely been cycling for my hormones. And a lot of that is starting to really let go, and I can just start to listen. It's like you've done the cleanup, and now I can just start to really listen and feel what's happening. And so I can be a little bit more fluid with it. And I think that's actually the end result we want, is like, here's the structures, here's the frameworks, here's the cleanup. And now you can actually trust yourself to make the right decisions, because you can feel it. You can feel what something does to you. You can feel what feels good. I know that if my brain is struggling and I eat a steak, I'm going to feel really good after. I know that's true. I can have a headache and eat a whole bunch of red meat and I'm feeling good again. And I know that some weeks my body goes, nah, like I don't want it. And I have to trust that. And trusting that, eating some fruit around this day is like my body's craving it. Okay, let it have it. And that's all been allowed because of the cleanup and structure that I gave it in the first place. So now the food is contained power. Here are some structures. Here is your frameworks. And now you have power to kind of flow around with that. And for mostly what it's been is my abandonment wound has been cleaned up. Completely. I'm fundamentally safe, and I have nothing to protect myself from.
Correct.
It feels safe to be small and fragile in the world because I have a man that will protect me. And the warrior is safe to come out, not from a forceful place, but I just know that she's there, and I don't need to be really up big and strong and massive to feel powerful and forceful. My gut health has sorted itself out and it keeps getting healthier the more I speak my truth. The podcast was the first thing that really cleaned it up. I was able to tell my story, and that did this massive cleanup on it. And, I've seen in sessions clients' stomachs be bloated out like this, and then we clear something and it just drops. I had a client that lost 12 kilos of fat in 12 weeks without a day of exercise, because we did both the emotional thing and the food thing. And the cool thing about the emotional work is it allows the food to happen without resistance. It allows the food to happen from a place of love and caring for yourself rather than from a place of force, which almost stops. People could eat the healthiest thing in the entire world and do it perfectly and still nothing change because of the relationship they have with it.
And because of how uncomfortable the cleanup can be.
Yeah.
And the cleanup you're speaking to is it's exactly the metaphor I provided, whether it was the moist, nutritious soil versus the very dry, not nutritious soil. That's the terrain. And that terrain, after the cleanup, that terrain is what enables you to even be able to absorb and receive nutrients from food, to even go through and start building the muscle mass that your body requires to exit, quote unquote, obesity. And it has nothing to do with a food problem or being motivated by food. Fundamentally, your neurobiology will shift drastically, and your mental space will shift drastically if your gut is, and I hate saying gut health. I don't but there's this space where the terrain of your gut, if it is in a space of, being inhibited by parasites or candida or, any type of dysbiosis, it has direct impact into your mindset and your ability to make food choice, period.
Yeah. There was a neuroimmunologist who I spoke to last year who was saying about the immune system that lives in the brain that we don't really talk about very much. And there is an immune system in the body, and it can start at either end. So you can screw up your gut and screw up your immune system in your body by the stuff that's happening in your mind first. And you can also screw up what's happening in your mind by the stuff that's in your body and in your gut first. So you have to do both things because they're both sending things both ways.
Yes. And you're speaking there to bottom up and top down, right? A lot of what we've learned is just the top down, the mindset only, but we need both. And it's 100%. We absolutely need both. Statistically, there's like a 20% influence top down and 80% influence bottom up. The challenge is our sensories are like, there's 13 different channels in the body that we sense through. Many of us are only aware of like, you know, the 5 senses, but there's actually over 13 different channels. And many of them get clogged. So I want you to imagine like like our body has a plumbing system, just like your house and your showers and your sinks have drains, and they get clogged. And when our sensing gets clogged, that's where that is essentially how obesity becomes so easy.
Yeah, nothing can filter through.
Right. Nothing can flow in and nothing can flow out. I mean, our cells in and of themselves have like locks and keys, and the cells open to receive new nutrients based on the lock and key. And what opens the lock and key in your cells are, nutrients that you either have to eat, like specifically eat. Omega-3s is a great example. Or your gut has to be able to extract and absorb. And so most of my clients don't have a junk food eating problem at all. Many of them are clean eaters well before they even get to me.
All the time. They all are clean eaters.
Yeah. And there's no way, like I look at like what they're eating for two to 4 weeks before I even start to shape shift guidance, and there's no way they're overeating. They may think they are. There's a big difference there. So for listeners, right, like many of my clients think that they're fat because they're overeating. They think that, but the reality of the situation is they're wildly malnourished.
I see that more often than not. Like,
yes,
like I have had one man that I've had to get weight on, and the rest I've had to get weight off. And I think maybe 85% of the time it's under eating.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so there's something that you just said there about the cells need to open to receive.
Mm-hmm.
And so now we're back into, we actually just need to open to receive energetically as a whole. And that opening, because I love that so much. I can open to receive love. I can open to receive money. I can open to receive support. I can open to receive nutrients. I can open to receive hydration. Like that closing off to receiving, even at a cellular level. Like, no wonder it's just getting stuck there. It can't actually receive it.
Correct. And there's a very physical component here, right? Because metabolically at a cellular level, like there's nutrients that are involved, and your body is an entire ecosystem of systems. Like it's not just It's not just a tummy. It's not just a liver. It's not just a kidney. It's not just a heart and lungs.
Yeah.
It's an ecosystem of systems, and they all impact each other. And that's where, like, I wish to God there was this like open to receive button that you could, after you do all of the identity work, and that was my case. I had done all of the identity work, all of the mindset work, all of like in the gym, all of this stuff, but it wasn't shifting the actual physicality of my body,
Erin,
the unwinding of the
button.
bracing.
I am the open to receive button. Oh, I will own that and hold it as my authority until the end of time. and I'm willing
she's
to
not
stand.
lying. I mean, it's the space where like, a lot of things came into like came into perfect equilibrium with my body and our work together at the same time. And it was like the beautiful, most perfect storm, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's actually opening to receive is the most painful thing I watch people do. And it's in every single client I've had to do work around it. And it's the most uncomfortable. And men and in women. And it is the source of, not the entire source, but a really large component of relationship issues. In that, you know, from a women receiving perspective, men can show up and give and give and give and provide and protect. And if you can't take it into your heart, you can allow the things to happen. It's like this. Yeah, that's happening. You're giving it to me, but I can't look because it's too uncomfortable. And so you can't actually take it into your heart, receive it into your cells, receive it into your physiology, receive it into your entire system. And so then you cannot reciprocate it. You cannot now show up with a full heart of overflowing because you never received the things you're being provided in the first place. So now you can't actually give back. And so then they're like, well, I can never do enough. I can never do enough. I can never do enough. You see this from a business perspective. It's like you can have all these things given to you all the time. If you can't fully receive it, the world is going, well, it's never enough. Why should I give you anything? You do it with food. Well, I can't actually receive it. Well, you're not actually receiving it anyway. So, you know, what's the point in giving you anything? It's like this real open to receiving the love, the nutrients, the money. And it's uncomfortable because it's never been safe. Last time I received, there were conditions. Last time I received, I was abused. Last time I received, someone said I couldn't do it that way. Last time I received all of these things. Men, when they're receiving, well, last time I opened my heart and received your love, you used it against me. I wasn't able to receive from my mother. She wasn't safe. All of this, we don't know as a culture how to really receive things into our heart.
I couldn't agree more. And the part of that is just the space where it's this, you know, we're told and forced to receive that which we don't want to receive and doesn't feel safe to begin with. And then, so that's number one. Number two is your brain is a prediction machine, and anytime you've received in the past, it's come back to bite you. And so the uncertainty or the unsafety in receiving something safe is because the prediction machine is already like telling your body that you're not going to feel good, even though it's going to feel like the most expansive wild bliss that you've ever felt in your life, and it just keeps getting better and better and better and better. And that's like, there's many environments that women and men are really good at staying in, even when their body is screaming, get me out. And so when you're receiving that feedback from an environment that you no longer want to be in and you just stay in it, that's an abandonment wound. And you're self-abandoning in the micro moment. And that is going to shut down your cells from receiving even after you leave that environment. It's like it is all interconnected with the nervous system, and what we have not yet done as a culture is actually stepped into and make, you know, available the resources required for you to even stay in a socially connected, like full on love state to begin with. Like those, like to be able to actually maintain that as a society or in community doesn't exist yet.
The communities aren't safe. The communities are unshadowed. The community, like, no. So this is the point that, you know, I've landed in, right? Is like when you to your point around, I've got to make it accessible, and to the point of accessible is like I've now with my clients that have done high ticket things that no worries, we do our best to make it accessible with whatever financial systems we can use, and then you are in our community for the rest of your life. Because now you have a safe place to land and you won't flip back into the old things. Because one of the things I notice the most is people bounce out when they have to go back home to their tribe, their community, which doesn't allow them to be in this new expanded state. And so it flips back. Or they bounce out and go, I can't go any further because I don't have anywhere to land. There is not a safe place where I can be this new expanded version of myself. And so this is why I love you. This is why we do podcasts all the time. This is why we're on the Zoom calls. This is why I want to be on the voice notes. This is why I'm in other communities, why I have created the communities. It's like you are acceptable at the highest expanded capacity that you can achieve, and I will love you for it, and I will rise you up for it, and whatever, wherever and however you need to go, and go beyond me. And I love that too. Like, that is the ultimate success of what I'm doing. Did you bounce out so far above me you don't even need me anymore?
And there are not a lot of people that will hold that reality as a potential for individuals in their communities. And that, like, so, like, and Hannah, like, I'm right there as well, right? It's like you're graduating.
Yeah.
You don't enter in to just stay and repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat and need and need and need and need. No, 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 no. You eventually graduate, and yet there's also a community that you can come back to and feel safe in, because just that expanded state, that expanded identity that you find will feel like a death from your old tribe.
Yes. Yeah.
And that, like, that's grief in and of itself as well. A lot of what I didn't realize until probably the last month was just how much I didn't grieve my past life when I left it.
Yeah.
Like, I just got up and left. I thought, I truly, the house that I was living in Minneapolis, like, sold after my best friend got married. And, like, I quit a job and I upped and left. I didn't think I was going to be gone for more than 6 months. I didn't, right? And I got up and I left an entire community and a friend and all of these things. Like, I didn't sever relationships, but I'm like, what is going on as I'm filtering through, like, my own just things that are harder for me to do in the current state than they've ever been before. And it wasn't until, like, literally a couple weeks ago where I was like, wait a minute here. Like, you fundamentally changed every aspect of your life, all of your communities that were safe and expansion oriented in multiple gyms across the Twin Cities metro area. Like, you literally up and left, and you, like, what you have available to you now is pale in comparison to what I'm used to. And I, like, of course there's grief here.
Yeah. And how much space do you have to grieve it?
Correct. Exactly.
How much
And,
permission
like,
do
I've
you have
given
to
myself that space over the past month, and, like, just holding integrity with individuals in the membership and private clients, and obviously they come first before any external marketing. And so it's like, and that's just one layer of grief that I discovered on top of we're losing my grandfather. And so, and he wasn't just a grandfather, he was like a father. So, like, that, and you can feel that somatically before the brain even catches up. And so there's all of these things that, just that start to come into your awareness the deeper and wider you go with your own journey. Similar to Hannah, like, I am in a pattern of the least exercise I've ever done in my adult life ever. And part of the, like, I don't need it to, maintain weight loss anymore. I've seen inch loss from my stomach, and I'm not trying, but I
love that.
understand why that inch gain happened in the first place. And it was not correlated to my food intake, but rather correlated to a relationship that was unsafe. And my body communicated it way before my brain could catch up.
Was this relationship, without mentioning names, the one that we were unpacking a little bit?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So without mentioning that scenario, I want to hear about how your relationship in yourself to men and relationships with men has shifted, because I've watched it happen on a monumental scale. Even the comment you made this morning, I was like, oh yeah, Erin.
Monumental scale. So essentially, I understand like the boundaries for them to even have access to me are crystal clear. Crystal clear. Like, I won't entertain certain things anymore. It's just not even an option, right? I'm not doing a dinner date until I see you in a gym. Like, that's where we're starting. You're gonna take me to the gym, or we're gonna be in movement, walking, beach, something like that, right? And then, like, if we jive there, then it's absolutely like number two, totally dinner date, being the feminine, all of those things. but that's just an example. But how I interact with men, like I can receive connection without any type of attachment. Like I just experienced this 2 weeks ago, Hannah, and like I had no idea how old he was. I had no idea, any like if he was available. None of it mattered. It was just pure human connection, and all I received was like calm peace. And like, yeah, like I absolutely we can stay in touch because I'm just receiving calm peace. And it's like the serendipitous connection that saved my life to begin with. And I don't need it to turn into anything like there's no fantasizing, there's no nothing. It just
Which
is this beautiful like example of pure connection, without any story or
yeah,
future hopping, if you will.
which was the case at the start. There was neuroticism and fantasizing and gripping and all of those things. So that's pretty
Yep.
fucking monumental to have that undone and to
Oh,
watch you operate from that space.
monumental. And like and this is like I had done a ton of work around all of this
Yeah.
prior to us stepping into working together at that level. I had done so much work around all of these things. And it wasn't until the last long-term relationship I was in, we had met in, it was like 6 to 8 months, the longest relationship I've ever been in. It was the most restricting on my feminine, and he had been I mean, he had, done a lot of Tony Robbins events and done a lot of Alison Armstrong work. And I was trauma trained and aware and conscious of how not trauma informed either of those environments are. And, conscious of what could happen and still went through it, still had to go through it.
Yeah.
I still had to go through it. And probably by far the one relationship I abandoned myself the most. In my 20s and
Why
my 30s, I walked away before it could happen.
why did you feel like you had to go through it if you knew it at the time?
I think it was a part of me that had never had a boyfriend, and it felt so different than anything. It was safe enough for me to even experience it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So like, and again, beautiful guy. I'm not shaming his character. It was just very clear that, and I had coaches that pulled me out and triggered the shit out of me, and thank God they were there.
Yeah.
I mean, truly, like I couldn't see it and at all. And that's called being in a part.
A part of you was getting its need met and the rest were
Yes.
irrelevant.
Correct. And 100%. And a lot of that had to do with the fact that I was also quite alone, in living arrangement, in just where I'm at geographically in the world compared to my friend base and my family. And so that played into it.
Yeah.
And I also go in to any type of relationship knowing there's wild transformation on the other side, and I don't care what I have to get drugged through to get there. Does that
I
make
used
sense?
to operate like that. My 20s was,
Yeah.
every single relationship I stepped into, domestic violence, drug addicted chaos, and just went, oh, I'm going to learn something amazing from this. I'll have some kind of, and thank God, because now I have had those experiences in which I can hold people through the darkest of dark.
Yep.
It's actually really interesting. There's Deegan did a session on me yesterday, a finality of one we did a couple of weeks beforehand. I had a partner die when I was 18, and the work that I have done on it, the amount of times I have gone there, right? Like the story. And I landed in this, the first one, I landed in this new place of realizing, and I can't believe I'm going to say this on the internet because I'm going to get some lashback for it, but his mother changed the narrative. And so I wasn't able to grieve as much as she was allowed to grieve. And the narrative was, as long as she was having her needs met, I was able to stay. And because I wasn't able to grieve, I hung on to her for 8 years in drug addicted, drinking, and every time I got myself a little better, we would disconnect. And every time I got myself a little better, we would disconnect some more. And so the only way to stay connected was to keep myself down here. And also my story and my narrative was invalid. And so it was the original gaslight that has created these patterns, right? And so the amount of grief that had to come out after that I actually was never allowed to let out because it didn't fit her story, it didn't fit her narrative. And then the one that we did yesterday was, I came to this realization that all of the next relationships that I did, I almost picked men that might die so I could experience the grief on my own. like the chaos, like absolutely, it's like my system was like, I need to go through it again so I can actually grieve properly this time, and never really got it completed. And so it's been sitting in my system this entire time. And, here I am actually, the even that experience in itself was like, why did I grip on so tightly to her? Well, I didn't have my mother to take care of me. She couldn't help me grieve. She couldn't allow me to just come home and have a cuddle and to just let all my stuff out. It was actually my mother and I have blamed my dad for everything. you know, he is the one, but it was actually, I missed her. I latched onto this thing. I never grieved. I have been gaslit in the situation, and that pattern has carried out forever. And all I actually needed was enough space to just be with myself and get into a blanket. And last night I was sitting there after this thing going, I can just do nothing, and that's okay. I'm allowed to just be sad, and that's okay. I don't need to be achieving. I don't need to be fighting. I don't need to be doing anything. I can just be through that. And so now there is no, in my system, something looking for something terrible to happen in which I can grieve, because the thing has been completed. And I wonder how many things we create in our lives because as humans, as communities, we don't know how to help people grieve effectively, and so it gets stuck, and then we create all these scenarios in which we can re-experience grief to try and get it completed again.
And that goes for things even more than just grief, right? Because what you're speaking to there is all the open loops that kept manifesting it in your external reality, all of the open loops of closure isn't the right word, but resolve.
Yeah.
And that, like, the result, that's actually exactly what played out for me.
Yeah.
It was like, I had to shrink, and there was safety in shrinking in that moment. And until I could see it at such a drastic level, there was like, there was no ability to step into my power.
Yeah.
And like it was very clear his nervous system couldn't hold my truth like right away.
Yeah.
And there was a martyr aspect in me that needed to play out. And until I could see it on the other side, until I could like literally like get to the space where, okay, now I'm no longer in her. We're still quasi together. I know I have to break this off. This is not working. That moment, and I could make shifts to get myself out of any type of commitment that no longer felt safe. I could make those shifts, but I didn't end it for another 3 months.
Why?
Part of that had to do with the fact of the reality that I was in my living situation at the time. I thought we were losing my grandfather that last year. He was going through some withdrawals from like pain meds and shit that we didn't even know he was on a religious basis. So the fact that he even still, like, the resilience of this man is just
Yeah.
it. I mean, World War II vet, and resilience of this man is just beyond. But we got him through it. And so there was the man I was dating at the time, like it was like I was leaving him to dry. There was no space for him in a way that was true, but there was no compassion for what I was actually holding because he couldn't hold that space in himself.
So what I love about what you've just said is that it's just okay. Like, you realized and you stayed because you were getting a need met, and it's okay. One of my staff, Deb, said to me the other day, as I'm moving through all of this stuff and going, oh, what have I done? I should have done it like, and she's like, yeah, but how perfect, right? You're a reminder of just how perfect all of these situations have been, and you needed them, and you needed to experience it, and you're learning, and you're expanding, and you're getting better, and it's all landed in the exact perfect time. And I think there's a double-edged sword in that. You can do too much of it will just all land perfectly, and whatever happens. You can go too far into that, and when you're taking the action and doing the work and undoing the things, it's actually okay that it wasn't great then, and you made this decision here, and you decided to stay to get that need met. Like, all right, we're not here to live perfect lives, we're here to live.
Mm-hmm. And part of living is being able to feel the spectrum of all human emotion.
Yes.
It's less about the negative emotion. That's not what I'm talking about here. They're not negative. Like, we have, like, there's a spectrum that we're on Earth living a human experience. And like, what I didn't do during any of that relationship was shame myself for it. my practitioner would come out in certain moments and I could be, I'd slowly become aware of it. But just because the practitioner could be aware of it, I didn't make the 17-year-old little girl who had never had, obese little girl who had never had a boyfriend on paper. I didn't make her wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that helps you move faster to the level up. Part of the
Yes.
stuckness is making the decisions wrong and making what you did wrong and shaming and guilty and all of these things in a full acceptance of everything up until this moment, knowing that you can shift in whatever way you need to from this moment forward allows the progress to be very, very fast, actually.
Very fast.
Yeah.
Very fast. And it was very clear that there was this soul contract between us,
Yeah.
and money was involved. I mean, not once, like it was just fascinating on the protector and the provider and all of those things and the training he's had versus like how it actually it was truly fascinating, and if anything, an experiment.
Yeah.
To for me, because I'll geek out in some of those things, but yeah, the human experience is just that. It's human. And it's so easy for us to get tied up into the constraints of black or white or perfectionism or any of those things, but that's not why we're here.
Yeah. Yeah. It is it's the biggest cliche I've ever heard, enjoy the journey. It's about the journey, not the destination, right? So this is the thing with cliches. We said this yesterday. It's like cliches are cliches until they land in your body. Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah.
The
And
embodiment
many of us
that.
don't have a body that they can land in.
Yeah. So, enjoying the journey and not the destination is a cliche till the end of time, until you can be in your body actually experiencing the journey for what it is in every moment, laughing and being curious about the things that are happening. Like, oh, this is interesting. I wonder why this person's trying to destroy me with fire. Isn't that fun? Oh, okay, right. I seem to have suddenly put on all of this fat. Interesting. What is happening here? What have I, rather than this catastrophizing around the whole thing, but it's an embodiment
Yes.
of that. And I feel like it actually comes from safety. You first have to become safe inside of your body and every experience that it can experience, so that you can enjoy that. You can't just say, I'm just going to enjoy the journey. There's some things you can do in the sense of trying to be a little more present in your day to day and look at the trees and experience the butterfly and be present. You can absolutely take that stance and make yourself a little more present. But the embodiment, the true embodiment of these cliches is where it becomes meaningful.
It becomes meaningful and also a felt sense of your reality. So often, like I used to read all these books about being present and being in the moment, and it didn't matter what I tried, I couldn't get there.
Yeah.
And you're speaking to just that, Hannah, right? Like yes, like it's the journey, right? For sure. Like I'm full alignment with that, but it's also so cliche. It doesn't support the practical application of what it actually means.
Yes, it doesn't.
And like now, like my present moment versus like, I mean, I've got a present moment that I'm aware of, and then I also have a future that I like am actively bringing in, and a past that is no longer part of the story. Not
Yeah.
because I shame it, not because I haven't learned from it, not because I don't appreciate it, not because it was wrong, but because if I continue to relate back to it, the future just gets further and further and further away. So in any given time, it's like I'm living in multiple timelines, yet anchored, truly anchored through Source and Mother Earth in the present. And my favorite part of it is feeling. Like I can feel and I can sense when that which I know is like required of the next level is entering my field.
Mm-hmm.
And that's unfolded in mass abundance over the last like 2 weeks.
I love it.
So
I
because,
love it.
yeah, that is already, that's entered, and I've said yes, and I've invested, and like there's so much anchoring in like what the future looks like, but I know the future is as soon as tomorrow.
Yeah.
So now the practical application of bringing my current body along for the ride is just what I enjoy the most. It's just my bliss.
So coming to present moment and bodily feeling, my stomach and my heart right now is like, and I want to bring to the point of that a previous version of me would have said to myself and told the story of this feels like panic, this feels like anxiety, but it's actually a heart expansion. I have something to do with this energy you've just shared with me, which we've co-created, that I can go and do something magical with. And you know, some of this being with ourselves is just, we've had this loop of it's dangerous, it's anxiety, I'm scared. And what we're actually scared of is the amount of energy we can bring up inside of ourselves, which we can hold, which we can be present with, because it is so fucking much. You want to be connected to source, connected to Mother Earth and everything, your heart can expand. It is a lot to experience. And sometimes that is the most scary thing. Sometimes that is like, how do I even do that? And I feel like that is two things: an ability to turn it into some meaningful action, and the community around you in which can also hold that and allow you to be inside of that. So right now, as I experience this, I'm like, I know Erin can allow me to be in this energy. She has kind of cultivated within me anyway. Had I been talking to another human, may it have been, I must contract this. This is too much for this space right now. Can we allow expansion? Can the people around us be an expanding nervous system so often that this cannot just have to be stuck in our body, but expand out into matter and allow matter to come calling back into us?
It's the Taurus field.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the Taurus field where it's non-stop release and receive and protection of your human vessel. And what Hannah is so eloquently describing is just what our two collective nervous systems can hold together.
Yeah.
Whereby, like, for me, it is, I mean, we're on the other side of the globe, number one. We're in completely, it's like, it's Sunday for me and it's Monday for you.
Yeah.
We've never met in person. And the only reason we found each other was because I felt safe enough to speak my truth in disruptive beliefs on Instagram. And that in and of itself took me over 5 years to actually execute. Right. And so when I just let that land and receive your reflection and the truth of your nervous system, there's so much gratitude.
Gratitude from there's a cardiologist that's doing this work. He's on one of my previous podcasts that talks about gratitude in this way of, I'm grateful that we're having this experience right now. But I'm grateful because it took for you to spend 5 years doing that on Instagram. It took for me to take a leap and decide to start my podcast, and inside of that needing to speak to you and being inside of this work, which took everything in your life prior to that moment to get there, which took everything in my life prior to that moment to get to that place. It took Instagram to exist. It took someone to create the internet. It took, right? Like all of those things combined, and we get to be in this moment right now. How fucking beautiful is that? And that we get to be in this and what comes from this expansion, what comes from my nervous system state right now, because I know you saying to me, this is why I'm like, wow, because in the last 2 weeks, you saying that, you know, abundance is coming in and your nervous system is calm, because I'm experiencing the exact same thing on the exact same timeline. No, I'm not fucking joking. Like, to the point of like, and it's not just me and my energy. It's holding the collective field, the energetic node that is within our field of my team and my clients and your team and your clients, and the thing that we're cultivating together, in the fact that when Debbie makes calls to our clients. Every single one of them is quality. Every single one of them shows up. Every single one of them is inside the ecosystem in some capacity, in some way. And if they're not, I'm just in service of all of this love and beauty, and it's all coming back to me in ways that's like, I'm not doing anything. I feel like I'm not doing anything.
That right there, same. How my nervous system orients to any mission, vision, purpose aligned work is me truly doesn't feel like I'm doing anything.
Yeah.
In comparison to the juxtaposition of a corporate career, like it is like as if I'm not doing anything at all. I am in pure bliss and pure channel and like nothing but calm, relaxed, open heart, body posture. That is the complete opposite of how I used to work in a 9-to-5 job. And so
okay.
it's almost as if the cleanup that we've talked about was just truly making safe that which your gifts already align you for.
Yes. Everything that you're supposed to have is trying to get to you.
Correct.
You just have to clean up the mess that's doing this.
Exactly. And then structure the containment that can hold it.
Yes. And so
that,
now we have
what I didn't understand before our work together was how I had to make money work for me and how I had to provide containers for money to flow into. Yeah. And that is like nailed. Like my taxes are done for 2025 already. Like, I mean, like 2025 is already done. Okay. And that was a huge source of frustration in a prior relationship and just even in my childhood. Right. And so but the fact that number one, it's like February 15th here in the States and I'm 2 months ahead of my 2025 taxes and what's unfolding, I'm stepping into, I'm not gripping, I'm stepping into downloading from, and then and then shipping out. And it's not work. It's not extra weight on my system. The weight on my system, which truly the weight on my system was that which I was not meant to carry anyways, but was conditioned into me as if I had to carry it.
Yeah.
Intergenerationally, epigenetically, we have mitochondrial scarcity and we have mitochondrial abundance. And my body did not pop out of the womb in any type of mitochondrial abundance.
Yeah.
Movement for me used to feel like I was in a body of cement, and now I feel light as a feather when I run. Even though I'm running less than I've ever run before in my life, I'm light as a feather. I'm not constricted, collapsed cement. And that's a fundamental difference, even in how my body shows up to hold space for women or to create curriculum from. It's pure channel.
Mm-hmm. And how much space have you allowed between this for it to land in comparison to how much space you would allow between idea and execution prior?
The space required for it to land and execute is shorter and shorter and shorter every launch. It's shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter. Like last night, the membership tiers downloaded. The pricing downloaded.
Inside of that, though, because what I'm hearing you say is there's space for that. You're at home, you're just in doing what you're doing, and there is space for it to download. Is that Correct. Different to the amount of executing work you were doing, not creating space for things to download?
Oh, that's such a fantastic question, right? Because historically, my calendar would have been so rigid and controlled, and what I am doing now is opting out even if my calendar says I should be doing something else. Does that make sense? Does that answer your question? Ultimately, is there space for it to unfold and enter into my reality? Am I providing that space? Of course. But it's if I have non-mission oriented things on my calendar, they don't take priority over my body. There's at all. Right? And my body doesn't get bypassed.
Busy work.
I didn't hear any of that.
What I'm getting at is like the busy work from, because like I know what it's like to be operating in the space that you were operating in before, where it's like you're always, well, there's space where I better write social media, there's space where I better fix my website, there's space where I better go do some this, there's space where I better, and so it's so full, and you're just executing shit to the ends of time that a coach said, oh, I should be, in comparison to, well, I can take 5 days to let this land and then it'll come and then I can just do the thing.
Yes. So yeah, exactly. Like yesterday, I mean, yesterday was a like I didn't answer anything on my phone. I like outside of there were some private clients that I stepped into on Saturday, which I typically don't, but I did because of what happened on my Friday. And I had space for it. Outside of that, it was truly just a me day, where there were plenty of things I should have done, plenty of things that could have been on a to-do list that I should have done. And I was like, nope, this is not what's of pressing importance.
Yeah.
So the busy work, I don't need to be busy anymore.
Yeah.
There's no gold star for being busy.
And
Like
so this,
like what everyone is seeking does not unfold with more busyness.
yes. So this is, I love this because at the moment inside of the field that's around in my clients is structure. And I'm like, it's all coming through all of them right now around putting in structure. And I think that what we're talking to here is impossible to do until you've learnt the fundamentals of structure and you have containment and structure in your system. Operating like how we're speaking to right now does not work unless you have a containment and a structure already operating in your system. Otherwise, it will turn into nothing ever getting done. And so we're doing learnings around calendars and structure and put it in and structuring your rest time and structuring these things and like discipline and all of this stuff at people that haven't had that in their system before. And when you've got that operating fundamentally in your system and that exists, now you have choice. It's the same as the food. You need structure and order and foundations and frameworks. And once that is so locked in, then you can let go and allow it to be a little more flowy. So both things need to exist at the same time. It is the integration of it all. Because I understand what you're saying, the letting go of the busy work. I woke up one morning and went, I've got to go write social. I went, why the fuck would I write any social media content when I have 15 consults booked in for the week? Like, I don't need to do anything. I can just kick back and read books until I have to get on the thing. And that allows the space for me to do other meaningful things or for things to download or for, the conversation of topic in the group that I'm in last week was all around AI in business, which I'd not spent enough time in my body with. I'd heard do this, do that. And I just went, but spending time and writing about things and letting it process and letting it come to me. And then, okay, now I can make a decision that my body is comfortable with. That has kind of downloaded through. And I'm so glad the meeting that I have that about today is today now, and that kind of got moved that way so those conversations could happen, and so I could spend yesterday baking pumpkin brownies and cooking whatever and getting a massage. And I don't even know if I had a conscious thought about it. It's just that this morning I woke up and I know what to do.
Yes. No different than this morning I woke up and the foods that my body wanted, my body hasn't wanted since 2018. Yet the foods that they are, I know directly correlate to what I need to step back into the wild expansion from a physicality perspective that hasn't felt safe for a month.
Well.
And so I got up and I went to the grocery store, and it was just like that. And it was I'm talking I have a juicer here. And I'm not talking about a juice detox or detox, any of that shit. That is not what I'm talking about at all. But what my body is asking for is it's not heavy foods at all. And that hasn't been the case for a while. How I taste different protein powders is a total turnoff right now. Even some of the cleanest protein powders that I've done all the research and I understand what's in them and all of that stuff. And my body just is just doesn't want any of it. What I can't get enough of are beets and carrots and celery and plantains and banana chips and stuff like that. I literally, it's the only thing my body wants to even receive. And I'm not judging it. And I'm not I'm also eating protein because I'm too wise to understand the importance of amino acids, and I don't like how I feel when I don't hit my minimums. But I also am aware that the proteins that actually feel safe and feel good for my body are completely different than where they were a month ago.
Yeah. I love that so much, hearing it from you as well, knowing the structures that you do like to put in around food. So it makes me really happy to hear you say those types of things. And I really understand it from there's, in the last 6 months, there's been weeks where I'm like, I just want mangoes and fruits, and I can't eat a piece of meat this week, and like, just not judging it. And this is the place we want to land in everything in life.
Yes.
Do I need the chiropractor? Do I need aerial yoga? Do I need to drive my car or walk? Or do I need to run? Or do I need to lift? Or do I need to do another 3 months of these sessions? Or do I just need once a month? Or do I need to have a break for a year? Or do I need these types of friendships right now? Do I need to be at home reading a book? It's like that, really knowing and trusting yourself in it. It can't exist, though. That type of intuition and trust can't exist without first having structure, order, and foundations, and doing that cleanup where it's not the little girl that's trying to get her need met running the show. It's an integrated human running the show in all parts online. Because I've definitely been in places where it's like, but I just need Maltesers. They're these little chocolate balls, right? Like, no, I don't. There is no part of me that ever needs that, right? That's a different part of me that's screaming for something.
Yep. I mean, and that's so it's so interesting that you say that, because for the longest time, and I teach feeding backwards. I teach honoring parts of us that were told that we couldn't have certain foods. And like I'm an 80/20, like it's 80% always nutrient dense, whole, like real food, and 20% like YOLO, right? And even my 20% bucket is drastically changing. Like yesterday, I love cookie dough. There was a part of me, like my little girl loves cookie dough. And for the most part, I eat it every day. And yesterday I was like, I don't even want this.
Yeah.
What in the hell is going on? Like, I don't even want this right now.
Yeah.
What is going on? And so it was just like a couple bites, and I'm like, yeah, we're done. So I haven't exhibited, or I haven't been through like this type of appetite change in a while, but I always know it precedes wild expansion, which is why I'm not judging it, and why I'm not making it wrong, and why I'm not trying to force it to change it outside of the timeline I know my body needs it to unfold in.
Yeah.
And like, I know part of the work I'm here to do is to support the individualization of healthcare, and individualization of the return to circadian rhythm. Like, if you look at history and you look at like what we've done, and like ultimately what's like, until we can honor the fact that we're not living in accordance to it, and realize that that's why mass disease is currently operating as a thing in society, nothing changes. The deeper I go into circadian rhythm, and even when I look at some of my most leanest states and my most optimally thriving states, it was always in an environment that enabled me to be operating within circadian rhythm.
Your personal circadian rhythm, or sun up, sundown?
Both. It's both. Sun up, sun down, absolutely, right? And how am I architected energetically, and architected based on the moment of my birth and the geography of my birth, and what is the plumbing and the energetic need of my system in comparison to somebody else? And I know that my system is not made to be a busy bee of the current infrastructure, even though I tried to force that because that's what college taught me to do. And that is not where any of my gifts come online.
Yeah.
That's all that is Fat Gain City for
Yeah.
me. It's just Fat Gain City over and over and over again, and I don't need to go back to it.
Yeah.
Right? I understand that, but everybody has a different truth in that, and that is what I am like bringing alive in the membership.
Yeah.
Like eventually you'll be able to sign up for a newsletter, tell me where you live, and you'll get guidance based on your geography. Eventually you'll be able to enter in and I'll understand all of this automatically, and I'll have like the automation and the architecture to support your like in systematic ways your unique blood metrics and all of those things. And like, does it exist out there a little bit? Yeah, but none of it's actually complete. Like any of the competitive like analysis that I've done of what's out there, like it's pale in comparison to what is actually driving fat gain.
This individualization, I think, is the most important part of it, because what I do see is lots of people get, and I've been guilty of it, get on their high horse of this is what's worked for me, so this is what is true for the world. And what I've noticed is something can be, not only is it different for everyone, but what is true for them today may not be true for them tomorrow. And what is true for them today is certainly not true for them next year. And getting the feedback in data and in metrics and in how they feel is the most important thing. You know, I went down this road with Deegan, actually, you know, him trying to put on muscle, and I kind of got stuck because we were living this very, I mean, he was doing lots of keto, not a lot of carbs, and he felt amazing. And he's like, I just can't get the muscle to come on. And so I was like, fuck it, like just listen to everyone else and go like carb load like a motherfucker. It's fine. Just go and do it. And he's like, I don't want to do this anymore. I feel like shit. I'm tired. I'm bloated. I don't sleep properly. All of these things are not okay. So I was like, well, good. You know, throw it in the bin and let's like do it in the way that I would imagine is right for you and what feels good for you. And we've taken away all of the rice and all of the like dense stuff. And I'm just like, just eat fruit, eat as much protein as you can, eat as much fat as you can, and eat fruit as your carbohydrates. Muscle finally goes up. And I'm like, all right, that's your thing, right? Like, and he feels good. And I don't care too much about anything else other than does he feel amazing, right? Like, is his energy online? Is his libido online? Is his brain working? Is he feeling good in the gym? Is he sleeping well? Like, I give a shit about that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Everything is individualized, and what's also critically important in that individualization is an ability to feel safe, seen, and understood in every interaction.
Yeah.
And as a human, especially here in the States, like any interaction we have with the external world typically does not include feeling safe, heard, and understood. Ever. I mean, I hung up on a therapist yesterday because in less than 7 minutes, I was like, oh my God, there's no way she's missing all of the nervous system, like 101 fundamentals. Like, and I literally, I'm sorry, but I'm going to cut you off right now because I can already tell we're not aligned, and like, have a great day. Click. Old Erin would have sat in that and received it and thought she was too much because she's a therapist.
Yeah.
And this Erin is like, peace. Bless, peace.
Yeah. And there's something that I feel that is even to the expansion of individualization that is landing in our little ecosystem of like, how many more fucking courses do we need? After doing this kind of work, can we trust ourselves to know what to do? And so I might be giving someone an aerial yoga session and I just have to hold space for their grief right now. I might be in an aerial yoga session and actually I just need to go and do a pressure point release on their body in this particular way. I might be in a integration session with someone and actually we just need to have a very deep conversation about our intentions and where we want to go in our lives and to unpack all of those things. You know, we might be doing a massage and actually we need this other thing. And it's like just blending everything together and to trust what the person is saying and the feedback that they're giving you and allowing that to exist and trusting yourself to be able to pull forward the things without it being so rigid. And well, I'm sorry, but I decided that this is what we were delivering. And so I have to, I mean, this is actually, I have experienced this on a call with someone that, you know, a couple of days ago, and I was like, I'm giving this information and I'm getting back a script. And I'm like, I just want to be heard. And I can see how that can work in the world where people are used to being talked at. But I live in a world where there is full seeing, hearing, and experiencing each other. And so that we can come to a resolution, not here is your agenda and hopefully it lands.
And what I'm hearing you say there and what you're speaking into is the collective disservice that sales and marketing curriculum across the world has done. They've made it okay for you as a consumer to purchase without feeling safe, seen, or understood, or like still in your own agency.
Yes.
And I got wild beef with that.
And so this in your own agency and having your own sovereignty, I think, is the most important part of anything we could have ever said today. In that, in all of this work that we're doing, the most important thing that we leave people with is their own sovereignty and their own agency. And in holding ourselves back sometimes with the knowledge that we have to allow them to land in truth on their own, to allow their decision, though it might be wrong, and they might get to the truth later, that they can experience what it's like to have their own agency and their own sovereignty and experience what it's like to not get it right and make their own decision from that place. And to allow people to get it wrong, to allow people to have an experience and to see what that is like, to allow people to go and eat all the dumb shit and go, hang on, that didn't feel good. Oh, all right, I'm going to do this now. To allow people to go, oh, the strength is actually within me and the truth is actually within me. I don't need you to tell me what to do and how to do it. I know I can access it somewhere within me. And if we can change the way we coach and therapy people, and I'm starting to find the language of, am I just going to make this anti-coaching, anti-therapy? Because I refuse to be those things.
Same.
And let me guide you to a place where you have agency and sovereignty, and whatever your truth is, I'm fucking here for it.
And that is likely, Hannah, why we connect at such the level that we connect on. Because I too, like, I'm not an influencer. I don't identify as a coach at all. And it's like, is there coaching in my, in the work that I do? For sure. But it's never like I am not barfing or vomiting up my method, because I don't have a method. Like there's no method that has worked for me that is going to necessarily work for you. And there's a fine line between all of the certifications that I've done, and I will, like it's ad nauseum. It makes me, like, parts of me, I'm just like, it was such my student. My student is such the meticulous, like, curriculum lover. And there's, like, truly one that actually has changed my world. And that one does not tell me how to practice as a practitioner, and there are no scripts. And I have not worked with one human that I've been able to cookie cutter the protocols, or cookie cutter my support, or cookie cutter my response to.
Yeah.
Not one.
Yeah.
Every single human that exists in my membership and in my private practice has a unique history. They're in unique environments. They're in a study of one. And some of the clients that struggle the most are the ones that want me to tell them what to do so they can lose weight. And that is not like, sorry, no. And like, it just doesn't, that's not what this is.
Yeah. Because
what you want to do right now would further put your body into so much debt that it's already in, that it's not like, I'm not sanctioning. Not that I'm sanctioning it, but that is not where the guidance is coming into. I'm here to serve your highest calling.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually find it really interesting, because when people come in looking for those things exactly, I think it takes about a month and then they forget and they're like, oh, who gives a shit about that? I feel amazing. And then once they get through that, it falls off anyway. You're like, like, well, and sometimes it doesn't, but their life changed so much in all of the other ways. It's like, well, okay, like, it's actually the most irrelevant thing, and it will come when it needs to come. It will come when it's safe. It will come when you are safe. And that mindset of, I just need it and I need it to be now, strips away on its own.
It does.
Yeah.
And everybody is on a different timeline. And same. Sometimes I've got clients month 1 that receive that, and others it's month 6.
Yeah.
And it's not that it just is like, it depends on how they're even entering and what they're like, if they have the resources to even support the unfolding of it. And if they have the capacity and what their capacity is for change.
Yeah.
And where their mindset with that capacity is. Like, classic example are the 2 cohorts of my membership right now. One of them, many of them are in a fixed mindset, victim consciousness, and the other one is the complete opposite and a completely different level woman. And I know the marketing that, called both of those individuals in, and I understand the span of my projection field and the span of who I'm here to support. Many coaches taught me to ignore this whole bucket down here and just go for, the individuals already in an evolved state. And I can't do it.
Yeah. I hear you.
I know I am here for the whole thing.
Yeah. I hear you. I really hear you. I got the same message. I tried to do the same thing. And it's funny because it's almost like I tried to do, all right, I'm just going up for the higher level. And it's like, have these first. I want to show you the importance of this work first. And now you can have these ones.
Yep.
And it's very
exactly
different.
What's happened.
The work is very different. And that's okay. And then actually what I've done is put them all into the same community and gone, well, you're all suffering the same human condition at the end of the day. I don't give a shit if you're like playing up here or playing down here. We're all suffering from the same human condition, whether you're just here to listen and observe and eventually come out and be seen and heard and rise up into these things. Like, I don't give a shit. It's fundamentally the same things going on underneath, and you may be operating at different levels, and you may have been up here a little bit more. You may have to get into your body a little bit more, and the work is different, and I will provide you a different human to operate your nervous system or to hold your nervous system, and that's okay. And we'll jump and be dynamic in the dynamicness of it, of like, all right, well, now you're landing here. I'm throwing in a man to hold space for you. And okay, now you're landing here. I'm bringing myself in over. And it's like allowing this dynamic thing to happen rather than this like, well, it's this and you get this many sessions and you get this things and you can't have any more than that. It's like, whatever, man. Like, I'm just here to solve your problem. I'm just here to solve the problem that you arrived with. I don't give a shit what that takes to get there.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And I really want to flush out the word dynamic, because just first off, the fact that we can operate in that despite what the collective is doing is a miracle in and of itself, and a testament of just, your work, my work, etc. But the dynamic aspect of the spectrum of healing is not what we see displayed in media.
Yeah.
And power is displayed, in the public eye as forceful and violent.
And yet we can have contained power and sit back down like this.
Correct. Neither of us got here overnight, however.
Yeah.
No. And that, truly, like, can I collapse time for clients? Yeah, I'm doing that weekly.
Well, so the interesting thing about collapsing time go.
It doesn't negate all of the variables that have to be in place for them to even receive the transformation we're offering.
Yes. And there is a level of resourcing that is required in their own environments. And I feel that there's an ethical standpoint in which to allow someone into the depths of this work. Even a questioning I have myself around doing group work in what happens if they unpack so much or they get to a place, are they resourced enough to be able to continue to actually finish the process, finalize the thing, because otherwise you left them in a cracked open state. And now I forget my point. What were you saying?
There's a lot of that, like what I received from that statement, and just how essentially what I'm hearing you say is that there's a part that doesn't want to leave somebody in a wildly open state, because of the resources they may or may not have available. And that I struggled with that for a while. And then I started seeing the transformation that was taking place in, I would say, the less resource group in my world, and none of it matters anymore.
Mm.
I'm no longer holding the weight of that projection as my own. I can't choose who resonates or doesn't resonate, or who opts in and doesn't opt in.
And
I
trusting,
can't choose that.
trusting that it's all gonna.
That's not my job.
Yeah. So it's gone again. It mustn't be needed to be said.
What was that?
I said my thought came back and then it's gone again. It must not need to be said.
Well, I was reflecting back in hopes that it would.
It did come back and then it's gone again.
Become expressed for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was something around the dynamicness and the why this is my point.
There we go.
The collapsing of time can exist. Yes, we didn't get here overnight. And we also didn't have a nervous system to hold us through it. We have battled our way to get here. And what I do notice is that the moment my nervous system can hold something for myself is the moment that it can collapse for my clients. And
Yes.
so I read something the other day that was saying, it was calling out the fact that you're not healing your clients, you're just holding space for them, and that is bullshit, because the quality of the facilitator matters. The work that the facilitator has done matters. The nervous system that you're offering to hold and contain that process matters. The depths in which you have gone to and the pattern recognition that you hold matters. And this story of saying all the time, yeah, I didn't do it, you did that on your own, and trying to force the agency back onto them is actually undoing and taking away our own power and our own journey of who we've landed here to be, because I know for sure that I can take someone to a place that someone else could not. And it's I watch it happen in real time as owning my authority. And then for the next week, everyone started landing in their authority, in their truth. And I was like, all right, everyone's about to leave me because they're going to go, I don't need her anymore. And they're going to bail. And I was like, all right, I'm ready for it. Like, let's go. It didn't quite happen that way because of the experience that I had, in which I was able to frame and go, this is not how I want anyone to ever experience an untangling from me. And so it's this, we can collapse it. It doesn't need to take the decade that it took us. It can take weeks or months to get there, because there is a frame, and it's an energetic, I can feel what it's like to hold that, because you're holding that, and so I can go there.
100% yes. Because what I'm hearing you say is that the what you've carried and what you've been through has direct correlation to the nervous system capacity and the degree of which you can take your clients and hold your clients. And every aha or every integration point of you, it has immediate mirrored reflex in your client base. I live the same thing. I live the same thing over and over and over again. Like how I wake up on a Monday and how I resource myself on a weekend and where I choose to spend my energy shows up in my client sessions on a weekly basis. On a weekly basis. And that's a big reason why, I'm in the space of, I know, I am bringing in so much support for me right now in containment on multiple levels in my personal and my business, in both sides, because I can sense where I'm going next. And I know if that is not there, it doesn't unfold.
Yeah.
And so many men and women, don't have the experience to realize that they're quote unquote stuck in their body because they're scared to actually invest in the support that provides the next level. And like with the case in point with the therapist, like I literally was like, there's no way she can even, there's no way I could tell like this. I could literally tell like this.
I
Used
actually
to I used to tell myself that I was too much because of that, and not that is not the case anymore. And like I can barely wait to see what shows up with all of my clients this next week,
yeah.
right? Because like that was a very like real moment for me of a disconfirming experience and truly choosing a boundary and a standard.
Yeah.
And like your nervous system has direct impact on your clients.
Yeah. Direct.
I
And
mean,
so
I can watch it in the physiology some of my clients show up in and how they leave.
yeah.
And like what I underestimated my first few years in practice was the energetic drain that would have on my own system, which is why like that, so when there's not an energetic reciprocal in cost or in investment, you're out of integrity.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
100%. And like that is not what I'm replicating at all anymore. You know, and it's why I'm introducing tiers, and some tiers don't have any access to me at all.
Yeah.
Because I understand the power of just the curriculum in and of itself, and to hold that back from others who can't afford access to my nervous system is a disservice to the world.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to have a longer conversation about how you're doing that. Yeah.
We do need to have a longer conversation about how I'm doing that, because
well,
I'm
and it
right now I
sounds, it
have my
also
hands
sounds
on some of the like most emerging technology that is even available, and I'm part of the futuristic visioning team of it, and I'm just super excited to even begin to contemplate.
Yeah, I mean, watch this space in both of our worlds as me and Erin start to weave like this.
I'm just it's an architect. It's like there's an architect that's coming out, and like that's where most of my gifts sit. But then there's an ability to go so deep in a private or group setting as medicine woman that like I don't even need to see labs anymore.
I understand
I can
that.
just look at someone's.
Yeah, I understand that. And that is a sense of owning your own authority.
Yeah. I don't need labs anymore. I can predict it. It's wild.
And yeah, I think this is a beautiful thing, and it's this tearing between technology and our own selves that I kind of find myself in all of the time. It's the same with the AI stuff. How much am I taking what is, the medicine woman out of the system, out of the ecosystem? I'm landing in it. I'm really landing in it. I'm blessed to be inside of these different communications that I'm in at the moment and going, okay, like I can see how this can really land. But it's the same with, I track my sleep and I track all of my things, and the data is really amazing. And it can show me, all right, like I did a deep session yesterday. I got my feet released. I did and guess who got 10 hours of sleep without any interruption? Like I love and it really, really, really helps me. And to insert this data into something that can process faster than we can. And I think the difference is like, yes, all of that needs to go there. And then when it's time for human interaction, human nervous system holding, space holding, like that all goes away. And it's like, now I'm here, and now I can feel and understand and take in source and provide at that level, which I think has been disowned by culture, and then so disowned by ourselves.
I'm just sitting in in presence of like the disowned by culture, and then naturally disowned by ourselves.
Yeah.
And I mean, the impact that had on my body is I mean, it's like 5 books just to get that out, right? But also percolating in, the whole concept of AI and where it's really good and what it can never replace. And like there's some AI out there that is essentially an extension of human consciousness that can absolutely make you feel safe, seen, and understood. And I've been on the reciprocal end of that, and it's blown my mind. But it will never replace human connection. It's not supposed to.
Yeah.
But what it can do is remove the friction of how you relate to ecosystems and to businesses and to just being a human, and that I'm really excited by.
Yeah.
I'm like beyond excited by like being able to remove friction
Yeah.
from, how someone interacts with my community and my space.
Yeah.
And like there's nothing that drives me up the wall more than inefficiencies in process and in specifically healthcare. And that is definitely a gap I know I'm here to solve.
Yeah.
And I know, like, Hannah, you are as well. I mean, we sit and we percolate on these things at nauseum sometimes, but it feels like just seconds, and it's always longer than just seconds.
It's really been 3 hours,
because,
actually.
Like just providing another human the gift of supporting them feeling safe, seen, and understood has shifted their nervous system state and provided a glimmer of hope. I mean, I have women in my membership that are in the depths of perimenopause and menopause, and also have been stricken with infertility, and they learn things about themselves like throughout the curriculum, and shame just disappears.
Yeah.
Like, and they don't need me for that shame to disappear. They don't need my system
validation
for
in
that
your
weight
experience
to be lost.
Yeah.
And,
There is a validation in the experience, in that it's actually okay to be experiencing what you're experiencing. I mean, you even provided that for me a couple of weeks ago in right. And what I love about our relationship actually is we do similar work, we help similar people, we're in a similar path, and not an ounce of the energy feels like competition, not an ounce of the energy feels like fight. It feels like the warriors standing beside each other, while dancing around in a field. And I hope that that's from my own perspective. I hope that's the relationships that continue to blossom in my life is ones exactly like these, where the mission is in the same general direction, in the same kind of North Star. And it's like, we're in this together in whatever capacity that looks like. And there's not a, like, yes, we will insert structure, and yes, we will insert boundaries, and yes, all of those things, but the energy behind it, there is not shadowed, and there is no taintedness inside of it. And so it's just always safe. And from that place, this is where as you can't change the world on your own, and you may not even be able to do it in collaboration with others that are giving you that competition energy. If we take away competition and we're now in flow and trusting that we're serving each other for the highest goods, and that there's enough, and we are in this together, and that it's going to flow perfectly, that is where there's a word: exponential growth for the entire army gets to happen.
I mean, the only thing for me to say back in complete like truth is 100% yes. The same. I've never felt like there was any competitive energy between us at all, ever. And I see our missions as deeply similar, and we're serving some of the same like individuals. Our fractals are of the same essence, right? And they complement each other drastically. Like I know there's a day we get to meet in person.
Oh,
And
it's this year.
I mean, I can barely wait for it, and yet I also know like how that unfolds is like not of my control. And there's also this gift that it feels like every single time we're able to meet in podcast or, you know, in our just our catch-up sessions, there's always a there's always an expansive like uh universal sign of yes, more of that. Does that make sense? Like I never leave like feeling like I've overspoken. I never leave where I feel like I said the wrong thing, and I never leave like I've shown up as too much, and I never leave like I've shrunk myself. There's always this space of no, we're just like there's two women who have like been in on some of the same, you know, in the battle in the arena for a really long time, who have lived some of the same struggles, and we're on the other side leading others, and providing light, not in a commanding way, but in just a pure lighthouse way. And that like there's power just in that of itself. Like what I'm current like imagine this. Like I am currently interacting with multiple individuals to support the expansion and scale of my business while I work a 9 to 5. And like I was in the space of releasing funds, releasing money at levels where I've done before but never like this close back to back. And this individual who I'm stepping into alignment slash like work with, literally at the moment my mind and my body became integrated, he sent me the link. Like that's the level this man already operates in. And there's a part of me that's like, it feels too good to be true, but I know it's not. And what there is not anymore at all since our collaboration is any threat of the shoe's gonna drop on the other side.
Yeah.
Like there's no shoe that's going to drop. Like my system knows it's safe to receive and release. And that's like money is a system. It comes in and it must be released. And how you release it, obviously there's mechanisms behind, you know, where it goes. And like to be a good steward of it. But I just am so deeply grateful for what we always get to explore in these sessions. And I'm always so curious of, you know, whose ears it lands in, and curious of like how it's received. Yet I'm never like in a space of threat that, you know, I said something wrong.
Yeah. Well, that's the most beautiful thing ever. And what a deep healing of the sister wound,
Oh,
you know?
I full body chills
Yeah,
there.
I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Well, and the witch wound,
And you're one and the same almost.
one and the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for that, fuck yeah, Erin. Well, we have absolutely just done 3 hours.
We have.
So,
Of course we have.
of course we have. Let's maybe do this again in another month.
Sounds great.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome.
I love you.
I love you too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.